Almost everyone has done this, and it's probably cost people millions of dollars, countless opportunities, and years of their life. What it is, they've had this idea, a dream, a business direction, a creative project, a relationship decision, just a life choice. And then they asked someone that they respected for their opinion. And it turned out to not be the best advice. The person wasn't necessarily wrong, but their response came through the lens of their own fears, their own limitations, their own beliefs and other experiences. And without realizing it, we sometimes hand our power over to people who haven't walked the path we're walking instead of trusting our intuition. A little while ago, I was creating one of my courses and I did something I almost never do. I reached out and I asked a friend what she thought of the name of my course. At the time, I was considering using the word empowerment. Now, empowerment was already a huge part of my work. I've been helping clients transform their lives for years. I used the word naturally. It felt aligned. It still feels true for me. But when I mentioned it to my friend, she immediately pushed back on it. She didn't like the word. And because I respected her, I listened. In fact, I listened more than I should have, which is quite strange for me. And what happened next made me realize something that's probably cost millions of people, millions of dollars, and opportunities, and energy, and time. And this is what happened. It's also very fascinating from a human nature perspective, because although I didn't realize in the exact moment, soon after something became very obvious. The issue was never about the word. The issue was that she was hearing the word through her own lens, which was a very different lens to mine. And at the time I saw the best in my friend, of course I did. I admired many things about her. But soon after I realized it had nothing to do with the word empowerment. She wasn't rejecting the word, she was rejecting the feeling that the word created within her, because that feeling was uncomfortable for her. She hadn't stepped into the audacity of her own life yet, and the word empowerment felt uncomfortable for her, because people only validate what feels safe within their own worldview, right? Once I saw this, I started noticing it everywhere. And the funny thing is, I've noticed that words like empowerment can make people feel deeply uncomfortable, not because they're bad words, of course not, because those words are asking something of us. I've noticed that people are often comfortable with words that match their size of their current life, but words that imply expansion can feel confronting. Words like empowerment or audacity or freedom or self-expression, even leadership and visibility imply a responsibility and expansion, and that can be quite threatening for people if they're not confident within themselves. Now, this was a huge punch in the face for me. I was annoyed at myself for dampening my own expression because it wasn't the first time I'd done it. Have you ever done this? Let me know in the comments below. Have you softened yourself to be more appropriate or edited, watered down yourself? Even chosen a safer version of a joke to not be so rude? Ignoring your instinct or your naturalness. I've always been quite a self-authoritative person by nature, but it didn't happen by accident. Partly because I've never been particularly interested in living an ordinary life, which would be that of those I might have asked advice from. And partly because some of the biggest regrets of my younger years came from abandoning my own instincts and following someone else's advice instead. Be careful whose opinion you ask for, because not everyone is qualified to validate the vision that's inside of you, especially if they haven't had the audacity to live their own dream. Now, there's another layer to this. You see, looking back, those decisions taught me something important. Other people can offer perspective, they can offer experience, and they can even offer wisdom, but they can never know what's right for your life in the way that you do, which is why I've learned to listen to advice differently. I don't ask, what do they think I should do? I ask, what part of this feels true to me? Whatever they're saying, that is. Because eventually there comes a point where self-trust becomes more valuable than approval of others. But here's the thing most people miss. We need to remember that most people aren't evaluating our situation from our perspective. They're evaluating it from theirs. That doesn't mean they don't care. In fact, it's quite the opposite. But their evaluation of your life is filtered through their fears, their beliefs, their limitations, their life experience, even their relationship with possibility, and certainly their relationship with themselves. And if we're not careful, we can end up abandoning something that was perfectly aligned simply because somebody else couldn't see what we could see. That's exactly what almost happened to me. Now, the irony, empowerment never stopped being my central workspace. If anything, it became even more central, which means the thing I almost removed from my work wasn't misaligned at all. It was actually one of the most aligned things about it. Because what I actually do is help people reveal who they really are. I help people release that conditioning. I help people reconnect with their true self. I help people develop the audacity to express that true self to the world. And that is genuine empowerment, right? The kind that allows fulfillment, freedom, and fun to be the natural consequence of being yourself. So the biggest lesson I took from that experience was this: be very careful who you ask for advice from. If somebody is an expert in an area you know nothing about, absolutely listen and learn from them, be coachable. But when it comes to your own instincts, your own vision, and the things your heart already knows to be true, seeking permission can become incredibly expensive because the people around you can only see life from the level they've reached themselves. Your soul already knows far more than you can conjure up in your mind. Usually, the most empowering thing you can do is stop asking for approval and start trusting what you already know. Because sometimes the people closest to you are the least qualified to recognize your next level. And because of that, you'll probably enjoy this video too.